Royal Reveal, Princess Leonor and Prince Christian's Wedding Vows Unveiled Love Letter. The cameras flashed, the bells rang, and in that moment, the world stopped. The long-awaited royal union between Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark has finally come to life. But what the world didn't hear until now, are the words that changed everything, their private wedding vows, whispered between two young royals bound by destiny, duty, and love. The scene was breathtaking. Under the grand vaulted ceilings of the royal cathedral, light streamed through stained glass, casting a soft golden glow on Leonor's gown, a masterpiece of Spanish tradition and modern grace. Christian stood tall beside her, his expression calm but his eyes betraying emotion. Every movement, every glance, told a story centuries in the making. But the vows, those sacred words, were more than promises. They were revelations. For the first time, we can unveil the truth behind what Leonor and Christian said to one another, words that carried the weight of kingdoms, families, and the future of Europe itself. Today, Leonor began, her voice trembling slightly, I choose not just the man standing before me, but the world we must build together. Through silence, through storms, through shadows and crowns. It wasn't rehearsed perfection, it was raw, heartfelt truth. You could feel the air in the cathedral change. Christian's eyes never left hers. When it was his turn, he spoke softly, but every word struck like a heartbeat. You were not my duty, Leonor. You were my choice, my calm in the chaos of crowns, my truth in a life built on ceremony. The crowd leaned in. Some say even Queen Letizia wiped away a tear. These weren't vows written by royal advisors or polished by protocol. They were deeply personal, a reflection of two souls who grew up under the spotlight, yet somehow found something real in the glare. Behind the elegance and ceremony, there was something unmistakably human, love that dared to exist in a world of expectation. For years, rumors swirled around their connection. Their shared appearances at royal events, the way they would glance at each other, quietly but undeniably connected. The public saw glimpses. But today, the whispers became words, and those words told the story of a love strong enough to cross borders, traditions, and the heavy shadow of history. As Leonor stood there, her crown slightly tilted by the veil's weight, she looked every bit the future queen, poised, yet fragile. Christian, with his hand trembling slightly as he held hers, wasn't just a prince, he was a young man surrendering to a truth that neither crown nor country could contain. The guests, a constellation of royalty from across Europe, looked on, King Felipe and Queen Letizia of Spain, Queen Margrethe and Crown Prince Frederick of Denmark, and countless dignitaries. But even they, symbols of generations of power, seemed moved beyond formality. There was a pause after the vows. Silence filled the cathedral, heavy, beautiful, eternal. Then, the choir rose, and the first notes of Ave Maria echoed through the hall. The couple turned, facing their families, and smiled, not the rehearsed royal smile, but one born of relief, gratitude, and the knowledge that they had just rewritten the story of modern monarchy. Their vows were not just personal declarations. They were political in their own quiet way, signaling unity between two nations, but also the changing face of royalty. Leonor, the first queen regnant Spain will see in centuries, chose her own path, her own love, and her own words. And Christian, the future king of Denmark, spoke not as a diplomat, but as a man unafraid to be vulnerable. Later, during the reception, guests whispered about the intimacy of those vows. One ambassador described them as a rare glimpse of honesty in a world built on ceremony. Another royal insider noted, it wasn't just a wedding. It was a statement, a merging of hearts before crowns. Behind the scenes, cameras caught small moments, Leonor's hand brushing Christian's arm, Christian leaning in to whisper something that made her laugh, her face lighting up with the kind of joy no title can command. For a moment, they were not heirs, not future monarchs, just two people in love. And yet, the deeper meaning of their vows goes beyond romance. It's about the courage to be human in a life where every gesture is judged, every word recorded, every feeling filtered through royal duty. Leonor and Christian didn't just pledge love. They pledged authenticity, to live and rule not as figures of formality, but as people who understand the world they must lead. As the night unfolded, their first dance became symbolic. The orchestra played softly, and the couple moved with a quiet rhythm, elegant, unhurried, timeless. Guests watched as the two swayed, perfectly in sync, their smiles saying what words could not. For Leonor, this moment was the culmination of years of preparation. Since childhood, she was trained to embody duty and discipline. But behind the crown was always a young woman yearning for something genuine. And for Christian, raised in the tradition of Danish humility and grace, this union wasn't just love, it was destiny meeting courage. When asked later about the vows, a close family friend revealed that both Leonor and Christian insisted on writing them privately, without approval from their royal teams. They wanted it to be theirs, the source said. They wanted it to be real. And real it was. In every word, every glance, every tear, the world saw the merging of two royal bloodlines, but more importantly, two hearts determined to lead with compassion and truth. As the royal evening drew to a close, Leonor and Christian stepped out onto the palace balcony. The crowd below erupted in cheers. Flags waved, cameras flashed, and the night sky lit up with fireworks. Yet, in that dazzling chaos, the couple seemed lost in their own quiet world. He whispered something into her ear, and she laughed, the same unguarded laugh that had once sparked rumors years before. That was the moment the fairy tale became real. The world will remember their crowns, their ceremony, their lineage. But history will remember their words, words spoken not for the world, but for each other. Words that dared to merge love with legacy. Their wedding vows, now unveiled, are more than royal poetry. They are a reminder that even behind palaces, protocols, and history's heavy expectations, love, real, human love, can still shine through. As the final echoes of the celebration faded into the Madrid night, one thing became certain: this was not just a royal wedding. It was the beginning of a story that redefined what it means to rule, to love, and to be seen. And as Princess Leonor and Prince Christian begin this new chapter together, the world watches, not for the spectacle, but for the sincerity. Because, perhaps for the first time, we have witnessed a royal promise that truly came from the heart. And those vows will echo for generations.